Hi everyone, this is Tammy, owner of Worthyworthitpriceless, and today's podcast is titled He Hasn't Forgotten About You. Recently, I think in the last podcast or so, I was speaking about just basically like my routine. And the thing that I really didn't say anything about was just that it was a lot. My routine was getting the best of me and it was wearing me down. And I will tell you what my routine is for the most part. It is probably getting up anywhere between 3 to 5 a.m. in the morning, getting my daughter ready. I usually use that time as well to have some time to myself. So that's why I say between 3 and 5. And then most times around 6 o'clock, I'll probably get her up or whatever. I take her over to my mom's house. That is probably like 7 minutes away, 7 to 15 minutes. It depends on how fast I drive, I guess. And then I go from my mom's house, put my daughter in my mom's house, obviously, and then drive all the way back, go to work for how many hours, then go back to go pick up Vea, then come back to the house. And it was really draining because I wasn't doing that with no breaks off, no breaks or anything. Since the pandemic. Like I went back to work in June and I've been doing that almost a year. I only took like one break from work. My first vacation ever. I never take a vacation, but I knew that I needed a break and I knew my mom and my daughter needed a break. So I took a week off of work. But it was so much and I was like so drained. And I ended up praying to God, and I'm like, you have to do something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to do what I can do, but this is just too much. And it was just like an everyday thing. It would be different if my daughter was going to school, but she wasn't, or she isn't. What happened was, well, sorry, as I've spoken about many a times, my daughter is autistic. And where I live at, because of her behavioral problems, it is hard to find a school for her and a school that'll be able to meet her needs. So she hasn't been approved to go to school. Just stick a pin in that and we'll get to that in 1 second. And so this whole time, she wasn't going to school until like December. December, they had to create a program for her because they really didn't think that it was going to be that long with her not going to school. So the program is just basically she goes to school about 2 to 3 hours a day, and then that's it. It's basically really 2 hours, but by the time, like with the buses and everything, it's just basically three. But they just created a program just for her, just so I could have a break and so she could actually get some sort of education. Excuse me. So anyway, long story short, was my routine in a nutshell. And I prayed to God recently, and I was like, I'm exhausted. I know you have plans for me, this, that, and the third, but I cannot do these plans with this kind of schedule, all this stuff. And I am so pleased to let you guys know that today I actually got a phone call from the Board of Education and my daughter was accepted to school. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy because it's like I said, it's been a whole year. My daughter has not been able to go to school, and I have been running my car ragged in myself, my mom, and it has been hell, like just hell. And I've been trying my hardest, and God heard my cries. He heard my prayers. And that's why I named this podcast, By the Grace of God, He Hasn't Forgotten About You. Because I'm telling you, I don't know how many times driving between my mom's house and work and whatever, I have broken down and I'm like, God, I need you. I need help. It is like I am a single mom. I take care of my daughter by myself. My mom watches her, and that's it. And I do the podcast or whatever, I do for the business, and I only do that on the little free times, or like I stated, like getting up at 3, 4, or 5 o'clock, or when she goes to school, I try to get things done. But other than that, it has been hell. And, but by the grace of God, he didn't forget about me. And I want to give you that encouragement as well. I know you might be going through the same thing, not probably this type of situation, but to the point where you feel as though you want to give up. You're tired. You're run down. You're like, God, I need to escape or something. And I'm giving you encouragement from basically what happened to me. I didn't know what was going to happen. My daughter is in kindergarten. She's about to start the first grade. And I had no idea. I didn't know if she was going to be able to continue to go to school, if they were going to continue this program, like what was going to happen. And God heard my cries. He heard my prayers. And I remember I just was talking to my friend like on Sunday, not this Sunday, but the previous Sunday. And it was like, I told her, I was like, my goodness, like I just, you know what I mean? It's just to the point sometimes I felt like I couldn't take it anymore. But by the grace of God, he heard my cries. And I just want to give you that encouragement that it's not over for you. I know that you might be feeling like this is the end for you. You might hear my daughter snoring, my bad. Yeah, but this is not the end for you. God has a plan for your life. And if you just please hold on, he will change your life instantly, just like how he changed mine. Now I have it that I can spend more time doing things that God has placed on my heart to do. I have more time to devote to the podcast, to devote to the new YouTube channel, all those things. So I just want to give you that encouragement. Do not give up no matter where you are. God has not forgotten about you. It's not over for you. He hears your cries. He hears your prayers. And let this be a confirmation that God still loves you. He has a plan for your life. He's going to bring you out before you know it. So with that being said, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the 200th episode. It's probably already passed, because I know I did delete some episodes, but for the most part, we're just going to say it. I believe that this is the 200th episode. I thank you so much for your support and everything. Thank you for all the listeners all over. By the grace of God, I have an audience now in India. So shout out to India, and Iceland and Nepal and Africa and everywhere else that I may have forgotten. Everyone in the United States that listens to this podcast, I appreciate it so, so much. You have no idea. Thank you so much. With that being said, always know you have worth, you have value. I do have announcements coming up, but just have to stay tuned. Until next time, love you guys. Bye.